And that's the reason I always say, getting into inner silence, getting back into the serenity of your life is a must, not only for prayer life, but also for a healthy life. The question, therefore, is how shall we do it? I'll give you a quick 5-point tips. Number 1, learn to remain in the present. I tell you, it's a Herculean task to begin with. But then, learn to do it. Take time every day, maybe a few moments in the morning, a few moments in the evening. Just walk out of your house. Just be in nature. See the nature, how tranquil and serene the nature is. Learn from the nature. Move around. Just spend some time, no thought stage. Learn to be in the present. And this is a habit that we require to cultivate. Otherwise, we all will go mad because we are living in a stressful world, mind you. Second, learn to be serene. Make it a habit. Tell yourself, I'm going to be really serene today. Come what may. I'm not going to lose my temper. I'm not going to lose my temper. And once we want it, we will get it. And in order to do that, point number 3, no unnecessary gossips and dialogue or civil war in your mind. See, most of the biggest culprit here is here in the mind. The civil war goes on. Stop that. Consciously stop it. No civil war, no. You tell yourself, no, I'm not going to think at all. The 4th, a lot of the past and a lot of future anxieties will come on your way. The best way is tell yourself, that's all right. Let it go. Let it go. Let it go. I tell you, this is what we call an internal spiritual detachment is one of the greatest virtue of Christian prayer. Let it go. Let it go. And the 5th point is learn to think positive. Every time, learn to think positive. There will be some negatives here and there, but put the opposite thought in your mind. No. In spite of that, this is good. In spite of that, no, I can still do it. In spite of that, it will be going to be better. Oh, it's going to be raining in Vancouver. No, in spite of that, tomorrow is going to be sunny. Be sure tomorrow is going to be sunny. Okay. And therefore, these 5 tips will help you a lot. What I want to say is, tranquil your mind. Make your mind serene and calm it down. And when it automatically calms it down, I tell you, your heart gets open. And your heart can learn to pray. Okay, that's the first thing. I told you prayer is the prayer of the heart. And we all require to learn to pray from the heart. If prayer is a prayer of the heart, we are entering into one more issue here. Let me ask that question once again. What is prayer? If someone asks you, ma'am, what are you? How do you answer? Sir, what are you? How do you answer? I'm doctor, I'm an engineer, I'm a carpenter, I'm a lawyer. What connotes your function, right? So, what is the answer we usually give when you say, what is prayer? Just get into your vocabulary of prayer. I went for Mass. I finished my breviary. I finished my Way of the Cross. We did our rosary. What are we telling? So we are actually considering prayer as a function. I finished my Mass. You see? I'm going to see the Mass. You see? We consider prayer as a function. Is prayer a function? Not at all. Prayer is a relationship. Prayer is a relationship of intimacy. And therefore, no functionalities will work. Yes, functions are the external manifestations. But that is not prayer. Prayer is what you build with within yourself with your God. That is an intense inner relationship of love. I think here, Saint Teresa of Avila will help us really great. Saint Teresa of Avila, a great Carmelite nun, a mystic, a doctor of the church in mysticism, when she speaks about prayer, she wants to share with us her own experience. In the Book of Life, chapter 8, verse 5, this is what she wants to tell us. Prayer, according to me, is an intimate sharing between friends. It is taking time frequently to be alone with God, whom we know loves us. Prayer is an intimate sharing between friends. The Spanish word she uses is tratar intimidad. What do you mean by to treat somebody intimately? This is what she wants to tell us actually. She uses a matrimonial ideology. What happens to a couple when they are married? I'm speaking about the 15th century or 16th century when Saint Teresa herself, went to the stage. She tells us the distance from engagement to marriage in the Spanish tradition during that time was around 6 months to 1 year. So that, boy and girl may know each other. But having given the commuting facilities and the communication facilities, it was practically impossible for them to know each other. And therefore, during the time of marriage, both boys and girls were, boy and girl were, practically strangers to each other. The girl in her own life has lived her own personal visions. She has her own dreams. She has her own happiness. She thinks this is the way that I require to be. This will bring me joy and peace and happiness. And together with that, she has preserved something as the most precious treasure of her life, her virginity. And now, on the day of the first night, what she does? She tells, hereafter, my visions are not my visions, but we have a vision together. My dreams are not any longer my dreams. I'm going to realize in and through you. What I call my happiness, my joy, my goodness of life, I'm going to realize in and through you. And as an expression of this total conviction, she not only hands over her own pleasure, her own dreams, her own happiness, her own future visions of life, but together with that, what she has cherished for all her life, her virginity to that man, and the vice versa. And Saint Teresa tells, this is prayer. So prayer for Saint Teresa is the self-donation of oneself completely in the hands of his God. That is prayer. You don't believe? Ma'am, recite Our Father. Come on. You know it? Yes. Recite it loudly. Our Father. Hallowed be. Hallowed be. Thy name, your name. Your kingdom come. Your will be done. You see? You see? Is Saint Teresa telling us something new? That is exactly what Jesus taught us. Lord, hereafter, it is not for my name. It is not for my kingdom. It is not for my will. Everything for your name, for your kingdom, and according to your will. And that is what the prayer Jesus taught us. And Saint Teresa says that itself is prayer. But she puts it in the humanistic way. In the way of relationship. And therefore, prayer is an attitude of the mind and the heart where God becomes the center of my life. And I learn to go around Him. Today, who is the center? Today, who is the center? I am the center. And others have to go around me. And even God has to, poor man has to go around me. You see? You see? Now that's the tragedy of our life. It is here prayer is reduced to, the shopkeeper ideology. Where prayer is reduced to some petitions. And that's what we have done most of the time. And that is what we teach our children. You think our children will be convinced of this? You see? Now that is the tragedy of our life. It is from there we require to get up and come to understand the in-depth meaning of prayer. Prayer as, total self-dedication of myself according to the will of God. And therefore, from morning till evening, we require to discern the will of God in our life. And therefore, if that has to be done, I would put the question, not what is prayer, I would put the question, who is prayer? Okay, let me help you. Anyone who builds a house is called a builder. B-U-I-L-D-E-R. Anyone who drives a vehicle is called driver. V-I-E-R. Anyone who manages a store or a factory is called manager. And if that is so, anyone who prays is called? So who is prayer? The one who prays is prayer. It is I and you who are prayer. You see, I have changed the whole thing. So prayer is not a thing. Prayer is me.